I'm Kurt Bradley from The Gentleman's Flavor. As always, thanks for watching. In our video today, we're going to tackle the topic of choosing the right cigar for the right occasion. To choose the right cigar for me today, after I'm done filming this video, we're going to travel to Ron's Tobacconist in the Queen West area of Toronto, Canada to select the perfect cigar for today. Here at Ron's, cigars are carefully kept to be fresh at about 68 to 70% humidity. This ensures that all the cigars that are purchased here are slightly soft to the touch. When you're choosing your cigar, you want to pick up your cigar and you want to see how the cigar feels. If the cigar is a little bit brittle or if it's a little bit stiff, you know that it's a bit dry. If it's a trusted tobacconist, typically this isn't an issue. If the cigar is too soft, it can be over-humidified, and this also leads to an unpleasant smoke. If the cigar is a little bit brittle or dry, it's not going to be a pleasant smoke. It's going to be a very bitter taste. This bitter taste is going to overshadow the wonderful nuances that you want to get out of a cigar, like coffee or cherry or a little bit of wood or leather. Instead, if a cigar has been not properly treated, it's going to be a bit brittle. It's going to be a very hot and harsh smoke. It might turn you off cigar smoking altogether. When it comes to choosing the right cigar for the right occasion, there's a couple quick questions that you want to ask yourself. The first thing is, how long do you have to smoke your cigar? Are you smoking in between a lunch break at work? Or is it a barbecue on a Sunday where you can enjoy a cigar up to 2.5 hours? These are all questions that are going to help you determine what kind of cigar to buy. Cigars today come in all different shapes and sizes. It can be really bewildering. You have petite Coronas, which is a small cigar. On the other end, you've got some big honking Churchills, named after, you guessed it, Winston Churchill, who used to like to chain smoke these things. Now, if you're going to smoke a Churchill, that sucker can take up to 2.5 hours. Even though it looks pretty in the window, you don't want to buy that giant thing if you're only going to smoke it for maybe about half hour, 45 minutes. So when it comes to determining what kind of cigar to buy, one of the first questions that you're going to ask yourself is, how long do I have to smoke it? That's going to make you decide what length of cigar you're going to buy. While we're on the topic of size, you also need to think about the thickness of your cigar. In the cigar world, cigars are measured in terms of what's called ring gauge. Thicker ring gauge cigars are thick cigars. Smaller ring gauge cigars are thinner cigars. You get different nuances from a thinner cigar than a thicker cigar. Personally, I don't like them too thick. But this is another thing to keep in mind when choosing a cigar in regards to how much time that you have. Another very important question to ask yourself is, what flavor of a cigar do you want? Just like a book, cigars have different wrappers, and you can kind of judge a book by its cover. If you're a novice or an intermediate smoker, my advice is you're going to want to go for something that's a little bit more mild to medium bodied. When it comes to developing your palate as a cigar smoker, cigars are very strong, even mild ones. So if it's your first time buying a cigar or you're still getting into the hobby, what I encourage you to choose is a mild to medium bodied cigar, which typically has a lighter colored wrapper. Darker wrappers, like a Maduro for example, are more of a stronger cigar. Más fuerte in Espanol. As you condition your palate and you become familiar with different tastes of different cigars and different wrappers, you may gravitate towards something that's a darker wrappered cigar, which is a little bit more bold and robust. But if this is your first cigar, or if you're new to the hobby, you're going to want something that's a little bit softer on the palate, that's not so overpowering. So I recommend choosing something of a lighter wrapper. An example of a cigar like this is a Hoya de Monterrey Epicure Numero Dos. This is a wonderful, mild to medium-bodied Cuban cigar that's about yay long. That's one of my personal favorites. Well, it's about time to give myself a little reward for putting this video together for you, so I've decided on my cigar. For today's smoke, I want to smoke for about an hour and a half. So I've gone with a slightly oversized Corona. It's an Upman. This is a Cuban Upman. It's a Habanos product. It's a 46-inch ring gauge. This is a Magnum 46. I'd say this is a little bit more towards a medium cigar. This is a nice, creamy, flavorful smoke, and this is going to be wonderful. I'd like to thank Ron's Tobacconist in Toronto, Canada for having us here today. As always, thank you for watching. Hey, don't forget to like us, subscribe. I'll see you in the comments below. I'm Kurt Bradley from The Gentleman's Flavor. Until next time, cheers.